Hey, hi you guys, and welcome to Through Evangelist Eyes. My name's Rod Savala, and again, we're going through the Bible. We're in Numbers chapter 13. And the title of this video has to be The Spies. And you know the story, I'm sure. I hope you know it. Moses is told by God to send spies into the land. And it's interesting at the beginning of the chapter, or at where they're told to go in, they're to look for certain things. What kind of trees are in the land? What kind of fortifications do the people have? Are they big? Are they small? Or is there a lot of them? What's the produce like? So they're going to give an account of what they've seen, and and if you know this story, it doesn't end well for 10 of the spies because they give a bad report. Matter of fact, that's what it's called in Numbers 13:32. It says they gave a bad report. And I would ask you, when's the last time you heard unbelief? When did you last hear it? Maybe you heard it in your own heart, in your own mind. Maybe you heard it from somebody out here, somebody you were trying to witness to, and I would just like you to think about what that sounds like. Unbelief, it sounds really bad when you hear it. I've heard it in the streets, people driving by and virtually cursing God out. I've heard it in people walking at the college campuses. And in the years, in a couple of decades that I've been doing this, I have grown to really not like unbelief when it's voiced. You know, it's one thing to read the arguments, play the apologist and say we have the evidence and I can read why I believe what I believe. But there's something different about actually hearing unbelief. I'm convinced it's bad. It's bad for the hearers. It's bad for the person stating it. And it's really, if you juxtapose unbelief next to belief, I would say there is no reason why we shouldn't believe. When you hear the two, we ought to be dancing in the streets for how strong our position is and how reasonable our position is when you hear it. But these spies, let me get back to the story. They even bring some of the produce, but I'm wondering, what was going on in the heads of those spies, those 10 that give the bad report? Remember, these 10, they were alive during the Exodus out of Egypt. They had to have seen the miracles that went on in Egypt. They had to have seen the sea parted. They had to have seen the waters turn sweet when Moses throws the wood into the waters. They had to have seen water coming out of the rock. They had to have seen the food, the manna provided. They tasted of it. On and on and on. Evidence after evidence after evidence. And yet they were afraid of the people of the land. What about you? What about me? Am I afraid of the people of the land? Do these guys scare me? Does their unbelief trump my belief? I don't think so. I hope not. I hope not. If we're going there, shame on us. What you have seen, what I have seen is off the charts. In your life alone, in my life alone, the evidence of the miracles God has done in my heart and my family, and we still have huge problems. But there is no way I'm going to let unbelief in my heart rule. If it actually, I like what Paul Little says, nobody can stop a bird from landing on your head, but you're a fool, and I may be misquoting him, you're a fool if you let that bird make a nest. And that's how unbelief is. You can't help but hear it or see it, but you're playing the fool if you let it stay on you. Belief has too much going for it. So what kind of report are we giving? When we go share the gospel, when we tell somebody about Jesus, is our report mixed with unbelief or uncertainty or doubt? I hope not. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. You know, Moses, at one point, Moses pleads for the people, because even after the report that the 10 spies give, the people start complaining again, over and over and over. And I tell you what, we have got so many champions on our side, and Moses is obviously one of them. But he pleads for the people. Out here, I hope that you and I are pleading for the people. Oh God, save these people. These that have not yet heard, may I bring the message to them. These who have failed you, may I tell them you're a forgiving God. These that have cursed God, may I say, oh, you can repent, you can turn from that and taste the love of God. Moses pleads for the people. God says, I can erase this people and we'll start again. Moses says, no, Lord, no. Let's stay with these, that your name will be honored. Those 10 spies die. They die before the Lord. And you know, they could have just as easily come out of that valley, those mountains, and said, God can handle this. God can handle this. And in your evangelism and mine, I hope that's how we're starting it. God can handle this. No matter where he puts me, he can handle it. So God bless you. And we, with confidence, have some good reports to give about what God has provided. We don't have a bad report. We have a good report. Matter of fact, it's called the good news. So God bless you, and let's go tell somebody. Okay?